All right, here now to give us a little more context around this story is Dale Lampert, the CEO of Randolph Electric Membership Corporation. That's a power provider in Moore County, North Carolina. Also with us this morning is David Adkins, a professor with the College of Emergency Preparedness, Homeland Security and Cybersecurity at the University of Albany. Dale and David, good morning to you both. Thanks for giving us some time. We certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, and we're getting few details on the why here, Dale. So I just want to begin with the comment that Jamal and Rob were talking about. Any links to what was happening with the drag show? Does that have anything to do with the attack that we saw on the power grid?
That has not been determined yet. I know that law enforcement is continuing the investigation, but that has not been determined yet.
But is it your gut sense here that is your gut sense here these were just teenagers who got daddy's gun and were pulling a prank, or that there's something more serious going on? The governor himself called this, quote, a new level of threat. That sounds more serious than just neighborhood kids goofing off with guns and shooting at a substation.
Well, there's no doubt that this was some type of coordinated attack. That's already been determined, but I think the investigation needs to play out because I know law enforcement is following a lot of leads, and they continue to work on all the information that they're gathering to be able to do a full investigation, and we look forward to that unfolding in the days ahead.
David, given your expertise in cybersecurity, any reason for the delay in the investigation as far as the details that we're getting? It seems like we're not getting a lot of information as to why this happened.
Well, and that's fairly typical, and many of your viewers are expecting a quick answer to that, but I remind folks that in 2013 there was a similar attack out in near San Diego, California, on a substation there. Fairly well organized sniper rifles, and we still don't know who's responsible for that.
And for folks who don't remember that story, thank you for mentioning that. It happened, I believe, the same day as the Boston Marathon bombing. So it did not get a lot of immediate attention because obviously the huge national story for days and days was that horrific event there in Boston during the race. Dale, just whatever the larger issue may be here, walk us through a little bit about how much longer you think these good folks will have to wait to get their lights and their heat back on, and will have traffic lights again at their four-way intersection.
Well, today's a big day. I've been in contact with the project lead at the damaged substation where the work continues this morning there with Duke Energy, and we receive power from this damaged substation transmission line. So I talked to the lead there this morning. Work is continuing. They're very optimistic that the station will be energized this morning. So our team and the Duke Energy team are working together to coordinate bringing the power back on. Fortunately for our members, we were able to bring alternate feeds from a different region of our service area. Even though you heard in the story someone mentioned about a rotating with their power being on and off, and that's one of our members because we brought alternate feeds from a different region, and doing that, there are limitations to that. But however, we're able to at least give them power for a few hours, and due to the limitations of being able to serve a load, that full load, we're able to give them power for a few hours, and then we have to transition to help their neighbors up the road and with power. So that continues there, but today's a big day, and we're looking forward to, if everything goes well, to be able to put the system back to normal operation. But fortunately for Randolph EMC members, we brought 2 alternate feeds in from the northern region to be able to give our members 100% power, some on an alternating basis, but they do have a 100% power. So we're very fortunate to have been able to do that. I give a shout out to our team. They did an amazing job. We were able to construct over 2 miles of heavy distribution lines in just a few hours. And doing that allowed us to restore power days ahead of when they would have normally received it. So the work continues, and today's a really big day, and we're looking forward to seeing how it plays out. I've always said that, you always look and see what's the light in the tunnel. Well, today, my story would be to our members, I think that light in the tunnel is a light bulb. And so we're looking forward to hopefully putting the system back together today and giving much more reliable power as we continue to work through this situation.
David, what is your read on this, I guess, in a larger picture as we are growing more concerned about the prospect of domestic extremism, as Rob was talking about, the DHS bulletin warning about it? What are you looking at? What are you reading that is giving you signs on what we can expect in the future as far as attacks go on infrastructure?
I'd anticipate more. In 2020, there was a 14-page how-to guide that was put out for low-tech attacks. There was chatter on some of the social media channels that are used by extremist groups to specifically target the electric grid for reasons of creating chaos, looking at the citizenry and trying to create unrest. And so given the inability in some cases to detect these attacks and to respond quickly, and the resilience of the electric grid, I consider this a threat that's going to continue and may ramp up. And certainly Homeland Security and the FBI have been issuing bulletins to that effect.
And bottom line, we just don't know enough in North Carolina to make a determination either way. Is that what you're reading right now?
Absolutely.
And Dale, real quick, just to be clear, when you mentioned that case back in California, those guys who they eventually, the stated purpose at the time is that their end goal was to plunge an area into darkness and that the ensuing chaos would lead to some kind of race war. That was their goal at the time, just to give people a sense of the extremism we're talking about. But the bottom line also is that these substations remain very vulnerable from a security standpoint. So as you said, they're easy targets, whether it's North Carolina or any other part of our country, any other state. And that's a danger too. These are soft targets, more or less, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Well, they are.
And we've seen some cases.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dale.
No, I mean, electric utilities operate at a high state of readiness. We always learn and apply additional measures, and we're going to continue to do that as this unfolds.
And David?
Yeah, I'd agree. And, you know, we're still in the situation where utilities, there's 3,200 different utility companies supplying power across the United States. They're still working at more resilience, but also more security, video cameras, increased security around the perimeters. But you're absolutely right from the beginning. We always anticipate cyber attacks, but physical attacks are a real and present danger to the electrical grid.
Dale Lambert, CEO of Randolph Electric Membership Corporation, and Professor David Adkins, Undergraduate Director of Cybersecurity at the University of Albany. Thank you so much to you both for coming on. Dale, if you have any updates, please do let us know. We'd love to have you come on because we'd like to get to the source of why this all happened. Thanks, guys.
Good. Thanks for allowing me to be on today.
Absolutely. Sobering conversation.
Yes, it is.
On more